I have been compiling various different topics, subjects, loads of knowledge and experiences to contribute to my coaching practice. And I would like to begin sharing this library of knowledge with you. These different compilations of said knowledge and experiences and wisdom, they really serve the work of shadow work. The whole idea is the idea behind the idea. It's not what you hear or see or think on the surface. But in my coaching videos, we will be just deep diving into the unseen aspects behind every topic and subject. In this mini series, I'll call it, I want to talk about the shadow behind performance. What is the often denied, disowned, and rejected truth behind the hustle? So often, those things that we admire in others and the things that we admire in ourselves, they are not solely strengths, but they can serve as reflections of where we feel we need to compensate. Coping mechanisms polished to look like confidence. I want to talk about a shadow aspect that is always, almost always, esteemed and celebrated as a success. And that very shadow lies behind the insatiable drive to go, 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 and to do, and to perform. That inner pride and that inner sense of safety and stability in having too many irons in the fire. And that subtle judgment of those who might move slower, or those who need rest, or those who just feel deeper. It all holds loads of information as far as the underlying shadow. Now, there is nothing inherently wrong with performance. There's nothing wrong with work and working hard, not whatsoever. And really, there's nothing wrong with the shadows behind your reason behind your performance-driven persona. What we're really just looking at is what often goes unconscious. What we're really looking at is what is at play behind this action. If you are performance-driven and hardcore performance-driven, you fear stillness. In a state of stillness, you get very, very anxious. You just want to get up and run away. You cannot sit in that feeling of stillness, but you are also afraid of feeling. And this is why to sit still is such a problem, because to sit still is to sit with feeling. But when you are constantly working and constantly moving and constantly performing, you are pulling yourself away from having to face feeling. Feelings can range from solely the angst, the antsiness that you feel by just being still. They can range all the way to deeper emotions and things that might surface if you are still and if you are not performing. When someone has this driving need to move, to do, to achieve, and to be productive, it is not because they are better or stronger. It's often because they've made this unconscious agreement. And most often, that agreement is this: if I stop, I will have to face everything that I've avoided. I will have to feel everything that I have worked so hard to get away from. And most often, there is no consciousness about this. Most often, if you are one of these people, you actually have no conscious awareness of what is behind your performance-driven mentality, but rather this type of persona can be absolutely intoxicating. Because we live in a world where the hard worker and the constant action and the person who can continuously perform and the person who is the overachiever is the one who is so very celebrated, the one who is utmostly esteemed. But we also live in a world who can't appreciate anything less than, because we live in a world where avoidance is the name of the game. Because this shadow runs so deep and so unconscious, this performance mentality and this performance driven lifestyle can even be very sexually seductive. That's why nowadays you see women in business suits plastered on the billboards of New York City, say, or in magazines. And, this image of this woman who can work it, this woman who can achieve and be productive, and do all these great things. She has this seductive air. She looks like a very sexy, very appealing woman. Again, this is just an example. And it isn't so much the look or the clothes, but it is the air, the presence behind it. What is so alluring is the fact that she, whoever she is, or he, is on top of the world and can be this productive warrior and this hard worker in this society. It is such an appealing thing. It's this persona of almost a superwoman, some kind of hero who can do all this and more and still look like this. It's the persona of someone who doesn't add to the burden of society, but can be supernatural and still remain absolutely not human. Because we live in a world where we have exiled humanity. We've exiled humanity for this very shadow of avoidance. And that only briefly sums it up. Ever wonder why this world runs so fast? The ones who are celebrated are the ones who do not remind other people about their own shadow. We are intensely drawn towards that which is concealed within us. Beneath this persona might be the inner child who was only ever seen when he was doing, when he was achieving, when he or she were performing, but never when he or she was just being. But when we're faced in this society with people who do express feeling and emotion, with those who do feel deeply and are consciously aware of more, and those who are not just working to stuff it all away all the time, we might say they are too much, or they are too emotional, or they are too this or too that. What might be underlying that is this. It's a retort. What they're saying is probably something like this: my survival is threatened by what you are expressing, because I never got to feel safe expressing that within myself. Shadow work is about compassionately exposing that which has been hidden. That is what I'm doing here in this little intro video to this series. When we acquire awareness enough to ask all the questions about all the little things, we heal. We heal when we question what we admire. We heal when we pause and stop calling other people too much and start questioning what it is within us that is unwilling to hold that much, and why. True strength is presence. I feel that true strength is presence, and true healing is honesty. Beyond honesty, it's bravery. And true intimacy is when we stop performing, but instead we come to a point of absolute realness. I hope this intro to this series resonated with you, and I encourage you to be brave and explore.